Hey everybody, my name is David. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I have been a Tesla fan since the very beginning. I had a deposit on the original Roadster before it was ever made. I never took delivery, but we have had a Model S. We do have a Model 3. My son has a Model Y, and I now drive the Model X, which I'm sitting in today. And I never done one of these videos, but I just had to do this today because we just returned home from our family vacation to Estes Park, Colorado. So we drive every year from Dallas, Texas to Estes Park, Colorado. And this year we decided to take my Model X. You know, it's an amazing car, and it's the Plaid, by the way. It's a 2022 Plaid. So I've had it about a year. Did a lot of research before we began and decided, you know, this is the year to do this. But there's a bit of a hitch here because on the way to Estes Park from Dallas, we just had the car. My wife and I, we had it loaded up in the back with all of our gear we take to Colorado, and it worked great. I mean, I have the auto drive, the self-drive. The car drove itself for probably 85–90% of the time. Worked beautifully. We supercharged. We charged a total of 6 times in the way to Colorado. We got an average of 144 miles per charge if you average them all out. It took us about 15 hours total, which was just a little bit more than I've done in my, I had a BMW X5 before. And so it's a little bit longer to charge than it is to get fuel in a nice car, but again, it was not a big deal. And so had a great trip up. It rides great. It drove itself. I'm a huge fan of the car. So we get to Estes Park, spend 2 weeks, and this is where the adventure begins. So we needed to tow a trailer on the way back with a Vespa. So I rented a U-Haul trailer, just one of the small utility trailers with no side panels, just a flatbed trailer with a mesh around the side. The total weight of the trailer was 1,250 pounds. The total weight of the Vespa was 250 pounds. And so I did a lot of research ahead of time, and I decided, you know what, we can do this. There's plenty of distance between the charging, or plenty of length between the charging. I can get from one charging point to another. Because all that I'd read is I could expect the range of the Tesla to go down by 30 or 40% with the type of trailer and the weight of the trailer that I was pulling. Again, I'm in a Model X, it weighs 5,400 pounds, and 40% down from a 333 mile battery is only, you know, you still got 175 miles per charge, supposedly. So we set out from Estes Park, Colorado 2 days ago to drive to Dallas, Texas. And boy, that's when the adventure began. So going to Colorado from Dallas, again, just let me review here. It took us a total of 15 hours, and we stopped a total of 6 times at superchargers. And the average distance that we got per charge was 144 miles. Now let's put a trailer on the back, a 1,500-pound trailer in total. And coming back, it didn't take us 15 hours, it took us 25 hours. We got an average of 87 miles per charge, and it took us just forever to get back. And I'm going to kind of go through that with you today. So interestingly, we left Estes Park at 3 o'clock in the morning, and our intent was to drive down all the way from Denver, down through Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Trinidad, Colorado, cross the border to New Mexico, go to Clayton, New Mexico, just across the corner, and then enter Texas and go down through Amarillo and on to Dallas, like we had come out, because there are plenty of superchargers along the way, and so that's what we decided to do. Well, we left at 3 in the morning. We drove from Estes Park to Colorado Springs, or to Monument, Colorado, actually, a little north of Colorado Springs, because with the trailer it wouldn't make it all the way to Colorado Springs, but we did get to Monument, which was 115 miles total from Estes Park to Monument. Okay, we charged up. It said you got to charge, you got to top it off, and so we topped it off, and so we headed south toward Trinidad. Well, we got 64 miles down the road and it says, no, you need to charge again because it's too far to Trinidad. Okay, well, I'd gotten to Trinidad without a trailer But with the trailer, okay, we'll charge again. We're in Pueblo, Colorado. So we spent 40 more minutes charging in Pueblo, Colorado, even though it had only been 64 miles from Monument to Pueblo. We get in the car in Pueblo and start heading south, and this red alert appears across the navigation. And it says that a charging station, a supercharger en route, was out of service, and it rerouted us. So it said, no, you can't go through Colorado, New Mexico, Texas. You need to backtrack and go back up to Colorado Springs and then head east and go through Kansas. And that's when the adventure began. So again, gosh, if there's too much distance in between chargers, we have to do what the car's telling us, right? So we backtracked, went back to Colorado Springs. It said charge in Colorado Springs, so we did. That was only another 45 miles. From there, it took us to Lyman, Colorado, where we charged, and we spent about 45 minutes to an hour, even though that had only been another 73 miles. From Lyman, Colorado to Goodland, Kansas, that's 109 miles. From Goodland, Kansas to Colby, Kansas, 38 miles. And each one of these, we had to stop and charge, okay? I mean, just unbelievable. From Colby, Kansas to Hays, Kansas, that's 109 miles, we charged in Hays. From Hays to Salina, 97 miles, we charged in Salina. From Salina to Wichita, 90 miles, we charged in Wichita. From Wichita to Perry, Oklahoma, 103 miles, we had to charge again. From Perry to Oklahoma City, 64 miles, charge again. From Oklahoma City to Ardmore, Oklahoma, 107, charge again. Ardmore to Denton, Texas, we charged again, and finally we got back to our home in Dallas, Texas. Friends, that is 13 supercharger stops on the way back from Estes Park, Colorado. Because one of the charging networks, or one of the charging stations going the Texas route, I guess, was out, and it rerouted us, we ended up going 1,128 miles in our return trip instead of the outbound 865 miles, which is an enormous, difference in miles. It took us 10 extra hours, okay? 15 hours out there, 25 hours back, 7 extra supercharger stops, and we spent another $200 in supercharger costs. So I actually did the math on this. I looked at my supercharger charges on my credit card. Going out there, we left early in the morning, so we got more optimal supercharger times. And by the way, you pay less money for your supercharger when you're doing early in the morning or late at night. You pay maximum rate during the day on the peak times. And so going out the entire way to Colorado, from Dallas, Texas to Estes Park, the total supercharger cost was $79.63, okay? Coming back, our total supercharger cost was $279.08. So 79 to 279, $200 extra to charge on the way back because of all the extra stops and all the extra miles. I also looked at the kilowatt hours we burned, okay? Because that's what's really going to tell you what the cost was of hauling a trailer. The total kilowatt hours going from Dallas to Estes Park with no trailer was 340. The total kilowatt hours we burned going from Estes Park to Dallas through Kansas was 751, okay? So here's the moral of the story of the lesson. For me, towing a light trailer with no wind resistance, a trailer with just one small moped, a Vespa, a 250-pound motorcycle on it, so a total of 1,500 pounds. And by the way, the tires on the trailer were fully inflated. They were great. It was a very new trailer. The trailer was not the problem, but doing that cost us 10 hours of time, cost us like 350 more miles, and it was just terrific. It was a 25-hour trip on the way back. Something else that's really important here. If you're hauling a trailer, if you're supercharging, on the way from Dallas to Colorado, it was awesome because the supercharger network, they know about how long you need to charge just to get yourself to the next charger. So on the way to Colorado, We would stop at a supercharger. It would typically route us to where you would get down to about 15%, which is enough that you're not nervous. But then it would have us charge up to about 60-65%. Not all the way, just to 60-65%, because that was plenty to get us to the next supercharger with 15% to spare. Why is that important? Well, if you've supercharged, you've noticed that the supercharger goes really fast at first, but the closer it gets to 60, 70, 80, 90%, it slows way down. So the network knows it just needs to get you to the next supercharger with enough juice so that you're not nervous, which is what it was doing. So going from Dallas to Colorado, we never had to charge beyond about 60-65%. So every charging stop was very brief. It was 15 minutes. Coming back from Colorado to Dallas, because we had to have the full range at almost every stop just to get to the next stop, the average amount of time we spent per supercharger was between 40 and 60 minutes, about 50 minutes per supercharger. So not only did we have to stop 13 times, but we had to stop for 40 to 60 minutes every single time, which was just brutal. So again, I love Tesla. I'm a huge fan. I will never tow a trailer with a Tesla again. I mean, that's the good, the bad, the ugly. Going from Dallas to Colorado, no problem. My Model X, it drove itself. It was awesome. Coming from Colorado to Dallas with a very lightweight trailer and just a little Vespa on the back was a disaster. It was an unmitigated disaster. Tesla, you got to figure this out. Why in the world can I only get, I have a 330-mile battery. This is the net, and I'll end on this. We have a 333-mile battery in this car. It's the Tesla Model X Plaid, the newest one. Why was I only getting about 100 to 120 miles of range every time I would fully charge? So I would fully charge. I'm talking, I would charge up to 99%, and I would drive from one spot to the next, and it would be 80, 90, 100 miles, and I would be at 10, 12, 15%. I am 100% sure that had I gone to absolute run it dry, I would not have gotten a skosh more than 125, maybe 130 miles on a full charge with a 333-mile battery. Friends, that didn't cut my battery usage by 40%. That cuts it by 67%, so by 2/3. So just know, even towing a lightweight trailer with no wind resistance, be careful, because for me, it cut my battery utilization by 2/3, by 67%. So I was stopping about every 80 to 100 miles. And if you got time, I guess that's good. I mean, we just decided to make the best of it, but boy, I won't do that again. You know, one time's enough. So hope this has been helpful. You know, that's towing a trailer in a Tesla, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thanks a lot. See ya.